Hello and welcome to Dungeoneered, a podcast dedicated to discussing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
Josh, are you happy with me that I didn't do the
You were all
intro weird?
excited, yeah.
I didn't do it weird because you don't like it when I do it weird.
Yeah,
so-
it's fine if you do it weird. I just like to know.
Nope. Nope. You're gonna get normal Aaron from here on out. But let's do this because I didn't say that. But now we're ready to go. I thought
fully ready.
Lukewarm opened this week. We should do something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna get is not like, oh, what is that? Or,
Well, I
like,
need a little
excitement.
more context before I carry the conversation on.
Well, okay. Well, I just wanted a little bit of give here.
Wow, Aaron, you want
I
to
guess
try
it's just me. All right,
switching
listeners,
things
so
up?
we're doing a
That's
Lukewarm Open this week.
amazing. What do you plan on doing? I'm so shocked and
see, nice.
surprised.
Well, thank you, Josh, for that extra enthusiam this week.
You're welcome.
Wow, I appreciate it. I can't deal with this. Anyway.
Is that so?
So what I was thinking,
You got to
we
be
should do
boring,
something
and
a
I got
little
to be
bit more.
super interested in everything you say.
What was that?
So you got to be boring, and I have to be interested in everything you say.
Absolutely. That's how this
That's how our new
works.
podcast. That's how we're editing each other.
Yes, you're the boring one. I am. Well, no, I'm the boring one now, and you're the excited one. That's how it works.
Okay.
Yep, you just have to be over the top excited about everything, like always. You got to dance. I don't see you dancing in your room either. So,
I'm always dancing in my room, dude.
do you actually dance in your room?
I
don't picture you as a dancing type.
I like dancing. I'm not good at it.
Oh, don't you do the thingy, the dance revolution or whatever?
Yes, it's like DDR, but it's called Pump, and it's way better. It's called Pump It Up, and it's amazing. And yes, I do that dancing, and I am
That's dancing, right?
moderately okay at that.
That's
I
dancing,
do
right?
devote a lot
Shouldn't
of
you be
time to
okay?
it. What was that?
Just get on the dance floor and do some pump moves.
The only dance floor I've actually danced on, I don't consider any sort of high school dances actual dancing.
Wait, why not?
It was
Did you go to high school dances?
a few.
Wow, you beat me. I didn't go to any.
I got asked to. It was like 3 or 4 proms. One of them
I
was
got asked
my
to a
own.
few stuff, and I just said no.
Yeah. Yeah. So the only dance floor I've actually that I actually have gone on is there's a private club in the state that we live in, and it's a goth industrial club, and it's amazing. And
Yeah, you told me about this a little bit.
and I go my buddy, he's actually the one who got me into both the dance game Pump It Up, and then he's like, hey, I also go to this club. I was friends with him when I was 18, and he was older at the time, so he was like, hey, when you're 21 you can finally start going to this club with me. And so we waited those years, and then
A goth industrial club.
it's so good.
What the
dude.
heck is that?
It's so great.
It's so... I don't know. Are we talking
membership.
goth as in wear black goth, or are we talking
Full on.
about goth as in Visigoth?
What was the second option there?
Visigoth?
What does that mean?
People who attacked Romans?
Oh,
Like
the
historical
Gothic
goths.
people, historical the Gothic people. No, it's
Yep.
it's not the. You have to piece the
That would be
historical
so
people.
great for a club,
where
though. Are
they-
you kidding me?
For those people who didn't know, goth was not originally what we think of it as today. It was actually a group of people that is actually where the.
Just show up in armor and dance on the dance floor? Oh, yeah.
But it's actually really interesting if you look up okay, there was a video that was super viral back in the day. It was a bunch of goths dancing under a bridge.
What?
This video, it was super popular. I'm sure.
Wait, I may have seen this.
I'm sure so many people are like, oh, I know what he's talking about. Now they've said that. But this video, the way that they dance in that video, everybody's always made fun of. That is industrial dancing. That is the dancing that goes on at this club.
Huh. I'm assuming there's drinks and stuff, or what?
Yeah.
Does everybody dress up as
I
vampires?
mean, it's
'Cause
not
that'd
really
be pretty cool.
dancing up. That's just how most of those people like to dress. I am not
Ah,
really. I don't dress 100% that way. I mean, I
So
do
it's like
have
not
like
like
a
fake
fishnet
goth club.
shirt,
It's like
and like I do dress more goth than I normally would for the goth club.
so it's not like a fake goth club, but it's like where real goths
Oh
actually
yeah,
go.
this is yes. This is a very like it's a membership only club. Like you have to
It's
be
not
a
like for the
member to
goths
go.
who were goths in high school for a few years and then they were done.
Well, so that's the thing.
Type thing.
There are people like that who come there, but God, literally, okay. This is one of the only clubs I know of where people in their 50s and 60s that are goth still want to go to.
What?
Yeah, dude, this
Hey, grandma on the dance
Yeah,
floor?
well, no, not even grandmas. Like they're just. I mean, they're just people who are into
They're GGs,
the
goth grandmas.
they're into the goth culture and into the goth like clothes and outfits and all this stuff, and so it is a community. Like there's like the goth that you're like in high school, or emo that you're in high school and you're like, oh, you just dress this way, but you don't like know anybody else who's that way, or there's like a few people in your high school that are that way. When you become an adult, like there is a huge group of people who were goth and all that in high school, but like they were that because they liked there was it was just something about it that drew them in, and there's a bunch of like-minded people, and so it's kind of become this community, and it's really interesting. And it's like I will go there and my buddy will know like half or more of the people there because they're just it's a community, and it's awesome.
Yeah, you guys have made like a whole entire community and group there of goth people. I know like goth people tend to like form those kind of tight knit communities though.
Yeah, and it's great. It's so good. I would suggest to anybody,
All right, well,
find your group.
I mean, okay, that was not supposed to be my lukewarm open, but it's already 8 minutes. So I'm thinking now, how would you put any kind of gothic nightclub in your D&D game? Because that was not supposed to be my lukewarm open at all, but here we are.
So I would do extra planar.
Ah, yeah.
So on a
That's probably how I'd go too.
foggy, creepy night while the party is sleeping or traveling through some sort of creepy area, they come across a portal, and through the portal is this kind of... I think the people there will almost seem like they're vampires or these other things that are generally considered goth, quotation marks, but they're not actually like... They're just people that enjoy that kind of aesthetic. And so it'd be really funny that they're like, oh no, everybody here's vampires or something, and they're not. They're just,
Yeah, but they're not.
They just enjoy that aesthetic.
I always,
partying
every
with,
time I think
that person's a werewolf, and they're nope. They just enjoy the aesthetic.
yeah, every time I think of a club, I always think of and I guess I don't know if this actually fits the definition, but like the tavern in Mos Eisley for Star Wars. I love that vibe. That's like my favorite club type vibe, where it's like of so many different races and different people and different things that like you walk in and it's just like, oh my gosh, where are we going? What are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's how, I mean, I'd probably run it like that, where like so many different races and different people, but flavor it like goth.
Yeah.
You have like a goth giant who's got like makeup around, like emo eyes, like
Yeah.
that'd be so fun.
There's definitely got to be a Nothic in the corner.
How would you even make a Nothic goth? A gothic Nothic?
They're already gothic enough. You don't need to touch them.
they're just here.
It's just a Nothic.
It's like, dude, where's your costume? This is me.
But yes,
I wonder how players would take that. How would you take that as a player? What would
it
you
would
do?
need to be the correct campaign for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you could play it in many ways that would actually allow it to play in many different realms or versions of D&D. But I think it works like, easiest in like a silly campaign.
You could do like, if we're playing off the vampire theme, you could do like they're all vampire spawns controlled by a vampire, and do like
okay, if we're gonna do that, if we're gonna go vampire spawns controlled by a vampire, I would literally have like if anybody wants to actually run something like this, where it's like a kind of a club that is the kind of center of power for a powerful vampire. I would literally look at Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. First game. In that game, there is one of these goth clubs run by this. She's what's called a Malkavian, which is a vampire that is crazy. It's the easiest way to describe it. But it's really interesting the way like some of the people who are in the club know that vampires run it, others don't, and you kind of have to like play the line of like, and maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe they have to figure out first off what's going on, two,
Well, yeah.
which ones are vampires without letting the like people who know that and are okay with vampires, without letting them know that they're hunting vampires.
Do you know? Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be super interesting. Do you know if there's like an idea, if there's anything like that in D&D where it's like a vampire is like running a, I don't want to say club, but a club because that's where we're going, but like a club, and like he uses it to like attract like people he can eat and feast on.
Don't know if it's fully like that. I believe I read something about some vampires that own taverns, but I couldn't recall the
That would
exact
be a
specific
crazy. That'd be actually
information.
kind of a fun idea to have like a tavern that's run by a vampire, but
Yeah.
he uses his tavern as like a way to get food essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that'd be super interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how he would do that. He'd be able to do that without getting get caught, but I'm sure you could figure something out.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's time to jump into the topic.
Man, I didn't even get to do my actual lukewarm open.
Hey, you get to
God
save it
dang
for
it.
next week.
Yeah, it
You're
was gonna be
prepared for
so
next
difficult and strange, but okay, we're going next week then.
I mean, feel free to cut me off next time if I'm just rambling about madness. We're both super tired. We
Nope.
stayed up till like.
No, we're sticking with it, baby.
Oh no.
We started talking about a goth nightclub, and here we are.
But sorry to the listener if this is not the most interesting episode, as we both. You went to bed at 3 and I went to bed at 2 last night, and
I
we're
left
tired.
Chris's at 3. I went to bed at 4,
ah.
and I woke up at 7:30.
Yeah, I also had to wake up at 7. Yeah, we're both tired. But we're doing this and we got it. So this week we are talking about a race from Star Trek. And I'm going to start off with, okay. So 2 weeks ago, when we released the episode, 2 episodes ago,
I don't even remember it.
Aaron let the bomb drop. And
I
he
did?
dropped the bomb saying that he never watched Star Trek, which heresy.
Oh, that's because it's dumb.
Utter heresy.
Star Wars better than Star Trek. Changed my mind.
That's pretty easy. Let's watch some and you'll immediately change your mind. No, I honestly don't care if one is better than the other. I think they fit 2 different niches, and I love both of the niches.
No, I mean, to be honest, I think one is vastly superior, and I haven't even watched the one that I think is vastly superior.
Oh, you think Star Trek is superior? That's great.
Yeah.
We should definitely watch. We should do some sort of like a binge watch or something together, just so you can
I'd be down to do that.
engage with one of
I've
the
never,
series, because
I've
all of
literally
the
never seen it.
I love every one of this series. I'm not 100% a fan of this newest one. I haven't watched it all the way. But the old ones I love. And actually one of my favorite characters, who we're going to talk about their species hopefully next week. Matt Colville actually mentioned them for the very reason that one of the reasons why I love them is that they're they're written as the most neutral character I have ever seen. Like, if you're looking for an example of somebody who is true neutral, it is this dude, and he is so amazing, and I love him. But we'll get into him and his war crimes next week.
Did you say him and his war crimes?
I may have said him and his war crimes. So,
How is that even neutral?
as
war
I was
crimes?
researching this topic of the Ferengi, I was reminded of everything terrible about this race. They're a very problematic species, and often it was played as a joke, showing just how horrible, misogynistic, and opportunistic this group really could be.
I remember you telling me a little bit about these dudes.
Yeah, through the
last
course.
week when we were supposed to actually do this.
Yeah. Through the course of, I believe it was Deep Space Nine, a group began working on fixing this misogyny, but in a very Ferengi way. But as I joked last week, the Ferengi are a race of Star Trek that is all about profit. Sorry, not last week. I have to change some of my writing. I wrote my
Oh,
writing.
yeah,
as
your
if I
notes are
was-
old. Yeah, your notes are
As
old.
I joked about 2 episodes ago, the Ferengi are a
You've
race
been caught
in
red-handed, Josh.
Star
You
Trek.
haven't changed your notes since last
I
week, I
did not.
see.
I didn't. That is all about profit. They live by guidelines called the rules of acquisition, which
And like last week we discussed, those rules are...
which dictate many interactions for Ferengi and all the goals of acquisition or gaining more money, called latinum. Now, the Ferengi were. This is kind of the reason why they are written so horribly. Like they're written with all of this horrible misogyny and just horribly like. They're very bad business practices and all that. They were written that way because they were originally created as antagonists. For the creator looked at the antagonists of the original series, the Klingons, and the Klingons were allegories for the issues with the U.S. and the USSR during the Cold War. So the creator of the Ferengi wanted to create a similar antagonist for the series Star Trek: The Next Generation by looking at his current era.
What are the Klingons again? I know they're famous, but I don't really know anything about
Klingons
them.
are a warring race.
They just fight?
Yeah, their whole thing is honor and death and the whole... I didn't do research on the Klingons, Aaron.
Well, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a race in Star Trek that's like a little puffball?
Well, the little puffballs are not like really they're a creature. They're called the little puffballs are called...
They're hilarious. I just remember they were funny.
Well, so what
I don't remember
happens
anything about them,
is they're literally like they're meant to breed. They're literally born with a baby inside of them already. Like they're born pregnant. They are
What?
meant to have baby after baby after baby. That's the whole point of it, is that they're filling up the spaceship. They're becoming
That's
too
a
many of
fun
them.
D&D thing too. Holy cow! Like having goblins who are born with babies inside them already.
It's a creepy way of looking at it.
It is, but it'd be still fun.
But
Although that sounded strange too, though.
it does. You
Anyways,
want
continue.
your goblins born pregnant. That's what you've said, Aaron. That is your official
Yeah,
stance.
that's exactly what I said. That's not how it meant to be, but that's where we're at here now.
But so we're talking about the Ferengi. So they're originally created as these antagonists. So the creator looked at the era around him, which was the 1980s, and was like, what are we like? What's a good antagonist that kind of shows how the world is thinking currently? And he saw the society taking a look at the financial sector as antagonists, and so he created his society as these untrustworthy businessmen who wanted everything to be theirs. So when we go through their society and everything, everything seems like the epitome of evil, because they were meant to be these straw men villain that were just supposed to be this horrible, horrible group.
And you said who did they base it off of? Like what real life group? Or
They
just like
based
a
it off
straw
of
man
the
of a real life
financial
group?
the financial sector. So they were looking at like Wall Street and stuff, like the society was, and beginning to see them as enemies or evil people. And so he's like, hey, let's play on this and let's create this race that is business, business, business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So originally I thought
picture in
strawman
Discord.
villains were terrible because no one is like that in real life, and it's ridiculous, I thought. And I like my D&D reflecting life, and I love the moral gray and exploring that. But I realize with my current group, specifically, certain players within that group are not interested in that.
Heroes.
Yeah, and that's okay. D&D is accepting of everyone, and everyone comes to it for their own reasons. Some players just want to be the hero. They love playing that hero fantasy, and what is required for that is an obvious villain, someone that is beyond the scale of what is moral. And in that same way, they created the Ferengi. The Ferengi are shorter than humans. They have orange-brown colored skin, blue toe and fingernails, larger skulls, wrinkled noses, and sharp teeth. But most noticeably is their large ears, which give them extremely good hearing, allowing them to understand a lot just from the sound of a person. The Ferengi are very different from us internally with higher blood pressures and stronger immune system, but all of these details that I could really go way too far into detail about are really unimportant for the task that we have today. Interestingly, though, I do want to point out that the Ferengi consist mostly off eating bugs and other invertebrate. Now let's talk about the Ferengi culture. So I kind of talked about this on last week on this I say that in this write-up.
Got him again.
2 weeks ago, 2 episodes ago.
There you go.
We talked about this. But the Ferengi culture is led by a philosophy called the rules of acquisition. This is 285 rules to live by for the Ferengi. Most of these rules are terrible, and when I was writing this...
285 rules?
Yes. And when I was writing this...
Is that like... I can just imagine a Ferengi writing a 255 rules for life book or something.
That's pretty much what it was, and then it became, like, religion.
Oh, no.
When I was writing this, I used a random number generator to pick a random starting number and wrote down the next 5
How
rules
long ago were
going
you
down
writing this?
from
Like
that.
a week ago?
2 weeks ago. And from that, and I will read those out, and you will hear what a random selection of these rules are like. So let's... the flimsier the product, the higher the price. Next is never let the competition know what you're thinking. Third is learn the customer's weakness so that you can better take advantage of this.
It's so good, though.
Next is it ain't over till it's over. And the last one I got was vengeance will cost you everything. So
Vengeance will cost you everything?
Yeah, so it's like don't be vengeful.
I mean, that
Just go for profit.
one's not too bad.
No, it's not too
Right?
bad.
Oh.
So that's the thing. Like, not everything in it is horrible, but all of it kind of has this.
I'm
It's
assuming,
all
yeah.
for
I'm
the
assuming it's
goal
like,
of
don't go for
profit,
vengeance,
profit,
go
profit.
for profit.
Pretty much.
Like,
What they mean when they say vengeance will cost you everything is saying vengeance is worth too much money. Don't spend it there.
oh, gosh.
Despite their exploitative ideologies, they have a pretty clean record morally in their world history. They have a distinct lack of slavery, genocide, or any other horrible atrocity that we would think of. Because of this, they actually feel like they have a moral high ground above other species in Star Trek. Now, they claim this while having an absolutely atrocious misogynistic ideals in their society. There is this is incredibly prevalent, this misogyny, from the rules in the rules of acquisition, like Rule 94, females and finance don't mix. If this idea,
so dumb.
oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. If this idea is built into
what
their
do they
culture,
even mean by that?
yeah, if this idea is built into their culture on such a basic level in these rules, the societal code of conduct, it has repercussions because of this. Just think about it. If a society values one thing as the most important, but restricts certain members from that society from engaging in those activities, then those people will never be able to advance themselves in that society.
Well, yeah, they're less than the societal standard.
Yeah, they're not able to engage in the societal standard and gain that. Now, if you really want to read
Yeah,
up on all the specific...
they're less than human, essentially.
Yeah. Now, if you really want to read up on all the specific rules of Ferengi misogyny, you can, but
Check
it's
out their
just
book at a
gross.
local library.
It's just gross, and they're a fictional group, and that is purposely written to be bad. So I don't think we need to go over one by one all their horribleness here.
Did they actually write all of them out and like stuff about it?
All 285 for the
Yeah.
rules of acquisition? Most of them, yeah. They didn't say them in the show, but so one of the things that Ferengi do in the show, specifically in Deep Space Nine, I didn't really watch much of Next Generation. I tried to watch it a few years ago, but I don't know.
Okay, how many Star Treks are there? Like a billion?
6 or 7 shows.
Jeez, it's still that popular, still going on?
Yeah, and there's one currently going on. Yeah, Star Trek. I forget what it's called. But yeah, the one that I liked because it was on as I was a child, and so I actually got to watch Star Trek. Me and my family would literally sit there on the night that it would show up, that it would be out, and we'd watch it on TV. Was Star Trek Enterprise, which is like, it was set in the past. It was like the very first spaceship out, like once they'd gained kind of good
First
technology.
Voyagers.
But it was really good and really fun. But so
Star Trek: The Last Frontier. Star Trek Into Space.
now, as I said, previously, most of these cultural beliefs were built for the Star Trek Next Generation, where they were a fictional
Star
group
Trek
that
Space Wars. I could keep going.
Yeah, where they were villains. But after that, the show, they began to grow them, wanting them to become more than just villains. They wanted them to have a place in the space politics of the show. So they began to make changes in them to make some of them main characters and not these horrible villains like they had previously. The main series I remember this from is Deep Space Nine, which is set on a space station positioned near a weird phenomenon. To research it, on the station there are many different shops and amenities. One of these amenities is a bar run by a Ferengi called Quark. And throughout the show, following the rules of acquisition, he makes a lot of trouble here and there, but he has a family, and it's really interesting to see how they interact with others and each other. Continually throughout the show, he tricks and makes bad deals against his own brother.
Gosh.
Yeah, so during the show of Deep Space Nine, which, let's be honest, was made at a very different time, and while it tried to do some things to kind of change the Ferengi and make them not this misogynistic, it did put forth the steps to do that. As I researched it, though, it was grossly weird and questionable in the ways that they did it. The overall premise
Yikes.
is good that they're trying to change the Ferengi, but the way that they did it was actually interesting, and it would actually work in a society if you wanted to try to change them. So something that's so internal in their society, they actually went for something that's more important in their society, making a profit. And they
What'd
began
they do? What'd they do then? How'd they make it less misogynistic?
Well, so what they did was they tried to convince the I was going to go into the government and all that later, but the Ferengi are ruled by a Grand Nagus, and they're like the leader, but they're not the only ones in charge. There are these like business groups that are also very important and must all kind of... the Grand Nagus can be voted out of position pretty much. So the Grand Nagus can't be the only one convinced, so you have to convince other people. So they were trying to convince these businesses, hey, okay, so first off, Ferengi women can't wear clothes. That's just the horrible... Yeah, it's real bad, dude. It's the worst of the world. Like, terrible. It's horrible. But so they were trying to convince them, hey...
I mean, I think we all know the answer.
If they could have clothes, they'll have pockets. And they'll want to fill those pockets with something. And they're like, what does every Ferengi want in their pockets? And latinum, the money. And they're like, if they have money, then they're going to buy your products. But if they're buying your products...
Wait, so the reason that they can't wear clothes is so they can't have pockets to hold money?
No, they just can't. They're not allowed to because they're...
Got it.
It's horrible,
like,
dude. I don't want to go into... I don't want to talk about this too much more. But no, so they try to convince
move
them
on.
that it's a slow progression. So first let them wear clothes, then they'll want money. Then once they want money, they'll spend that money. Then they'll also want to make money, so then they'll become workers for you. And like it's slowly trying to convince them, hey, it's more profitable to allow them to become functioning members of society.
It's more profitable to allow them to wear clothes.
Literally, it's yes, and that is where they had to go. But the thing that was most questionable about it was there's like gender reassignment surgery. Like it's weird the way that they went and said, let's try to fix this by having a man do it.
Wait, so instead of
they were supposed to be this girl, but then
because...
she gets sick or something like that, and then the Quark.
So they were forced to reassign their gender or something like that?
No, so I believe it was Quark, the main character, the one of the characters from the show, and he was the person who was supposed to, because they needed to have a woman meet one of these business people and be like, hey, look, they're intelligent just like the men. Like, why are we acting like they're lesser? They're not. And so, but the person who was supposed to got sick or something, and so they had to like have someone pretend to be a female to convince this person.
It's just so weird. Let's make our society less
It's literally like
gender
the
reassignment.
Worst way to do it. It's very uncouth and
weird.
Terrible. But so,
gotta look back through your notes that you wrote.
Yeah, I gotta find where I'm at now. So as I researched it seemed everything in the Ferengi life was a business contract, from marriage.
Wait, quick question. You said as I researched this. When did you research this again?
From marriage, which for them only lasts about 5 years, to entering another house, which has an admissions fee and a waiver saying if something goes missing, they will be blamed for it. And you even, as a greeting to allowing someone in your house, say, "My house is my house," to which they have to reply, "as are its contents."
Wait, say that again? What?
So, everything in their life is a business contract, from marriage, which only lasts 5 years and is a business deal between the dude and the father, to entering someone's house. So, entering someone's house in this world, you have to pay an admissions fee and sign a waiver saying that if anything goes missing, they will be blamed for it. Now, to cap all this off, you even when you greet the person and allow someone into your house, you will say, "My house is my house." And the guest must answer in kind saying, "as are its contents."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
These people are wild, dude.
Yeah, it's very weird. So I think I'm going to skip what else I have and just talk about this last part. So I'm almost done, but the wiki I was reading had an amazing tidbit, I have to say, and this is a direct quote, but a few things to know before I say the quote. Gene Roddenberry is the creator of Star Trek, the original, and worked on a bunch of the others as creators/producers. While he was alive, he did all that. And Herb Wright was a writer and producer for the show that actually created the Ferengi. He's actually called the father of the Ferengi. Now, this is the quote.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, no, so he was creating him as a villain. That was his whole thing. So they had to be the worst of the worst. So this is the quote. "One influence on the Ferengi was what Herb Wright described as Gene Roddenberry's sex fetish. In early first season discussions between them about developing the Ferengi, Roddenberry let Wright know it was his intention to make the species well endowed. He wanted to put a gigantic codpiece on the Ferengi," Wright stated. "He spent 25 minutes explaining to me all the sexual positions the Ferengi could go through. I finally said, 'Gene, this is a family show on at 7 on Saturday.' He finally said, 'Okay, you're right.' With Roddenberry's approval, the development of the new species got underway."
Ooh. What the heck? The Ferengi? What? That is so...
He wanted to have them with like giant cod pieces and like just absolute ridiculousness. And the dude's like, "Dude, this is a family show. What are you talking about?"
That's so weird.
Man. But dude, just imagine being in a business meeting and your boss talking to you for 25 minutes about, yeah, and you're like,
trying to put them into his TV show.
Hey, we run a dog shelter. What are you talking about?
I mean, I guess we have to create a villainous species that's over the top and crazy.
Yeah, let's create an overly villainous, like, evil race.
All right. So what do we want? Okay. So we have to think of something. Why? What do they do that makes them evil? We gotta, and then base their culture around that.
Okay. So I would prefer it to be a stereotype. I prefer it to be the world thinks they're evil. They aren't all evil.
Yeah, but I kind of want to make like an evil group.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. We can do an evil group if that is what you wish.
And then later we can create like someone who breaks that mold or something.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Maybe even a PC.
Yeah, exactly. No. Okay. So what does this group do that's so evil? Like what do we want? What do we want to go with?
Slavery.
I think the only thing that I want to avoid is like human sacrifice. I think I want to avoid that because that's
I
like,
I don't think we need to go there, but I think slavery and like specifically like taking other nations' people, like they send out raiding parties pretty much. They go full Viking on these people and just take their lands. They not even take their lands, they just take their people. Maybe their lands are like incredibly like rich with something, some sort of material or mineral or whatever, and they just need more people to work it. And so they don't even want more land because their land is incredibly valuable. They just don't have enough people to get the money out of it, get everything they can out of it.
where this is going. there's a part of me that kind of wants to do like, instead of like slavery, I kind of want them to like, I don't know. I was gonna say like they have this weird. I don't know why this would be the case though. Is my problem. Like they have a weird, they're almost like a pirate burned, but they leave the people alive. Like they just destroy everything else that they have. But I don't know why that would even be like a cultural.
Yeah.
You can just be like, well, our race is the best race, so we take other races and use them for our purposes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
What's
So
something
okay,
unique?
we could play
What's
them.
something unique?
They could be like in some sort of like desolation or some sort of area where they can't really they don't have the resources they
Okay.
need, but they have plenty
Okay.
of people. If you want to play
What
it
if we
that
did-
way.
Okay, someone along this lines, but what if we did, they're like a subset to a culture, and their beliefs are they don't make or produce anything, they only steal.
Why though?
I don't know, but I think that'd be so weird and interesting. Like a group of people who only steal. Boy, there'd be some serious issues though if you were like in a subset nation. Like they'd just kill you probably.
Yeah,
They'd
and
probably just,
any
like,
other
take
nation
over
would be
your
like, "What do you
group.
know? What? Killed them."
Yeah, they'd probably just like arrest you for unless they were like in some sort of like hidden hideout or something. Like they were all like, some of them have like capabilities to like transform into different people, and they pulled off like elaborate heists and steal stuff all the time. But that'd just be a criminal organization at that point, not a cultural group.
Yeah. Hey, who says a criminal group can't be a cultural group as well?
Well, it absolutely can. Yeah, absolutely can.
The culture of criminals.
Yeah, at that point, we might as well just make a criminal organization, you know? Yeah, I mean, a culture of criminals is always really fun, though.
But I always find that hard to justify.
Like the classic, like, pirate island.
Yeah, I find it hard to be like.
I have a great justification that I think isn't
like,
used
I
enough.
always hate having like yeah, a lot of people race might be something, but I always have a hard time fully associating because like even like there are cultural groups that we think of in one way today, but there are plenty of different ways like that like those people were not that. But just because of the stereotype and like what most of the stories we hear are about them being this one thing.
Yeah, how I did it in my world, they were wronged heavily by the group that like falsely imprisoned them and then exiled them, and so they vowed to essentially get revenge and this culture, just constantly raided and pillaged it because they were falsely imprisoned and exiled on purpose because of their cultural identity, and so they turned that into like essentially their leader like essentially convinced them that they live for ruining this other culture's life so that they can regain control of that culture.
That's an interesting belief for sure.
After they like wrongly imprisoned and threw us out of the culture. And so the only way we can do that stuff and trying to essentially impose their will on everyone around them.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was actually really fun. They were like a huge bandit group called the Burning Brand. And they all had exile marks from they put the exile mark on you anyways, even if you were never exiled from the country.
Yeah, just kind of as a symbol of unity with the group.
So they would like purposely brand their children and stuff like that. But they were very crazy.
Or are they the most sane out of all of us?
True. You're right. Okay, let's pick something. We got to pick something and go with it, you know? Do we want to just go with slavery because it's easy?
Okay, I don't really get what the other idea was. So it's the idea
Cannibalism.
That I hear,
Bam. There's another one.
The ideas that I hear are that's too close just to sacrifice to me.
True. Well, yeah.
I would say the two choices are either it is they do slavery or they rob for items. Like so they take all the items and they leave the people.
Okay. Now I'm interested in doing cannibalism. Because now I'm just picturing like a group of like a culture who kind of does this like slavery type thing where they go and they like take groups and they literally make like farms of humans that like live in barns and they like feed
we'll
them
do cannibalism,
and,
but I
like,
want it
try
to
and
be
grow
a
them.
young group. So they could be doing it for thousands of years. What I mean by a young group is that the age of the people that are in this group is quite young because
this reminds me of that anime that I just watched.
because there is a thing when you eat other humans, especially if you eat the brain, which I think I would definitely want this group to do, where it's called mad cow disease. It's called mad cow disease, and it's what the cows got when they ate other cows. They literally began to pretty much go feral, and it happens to humans too, and it's really bad for you to like consume human brains as a human. And so I want there to be some sort of thing like they call it like being lost. And so the older generation at some point they just quotation marks get lost. And that's
No,
like
okay.
the older generation
No, I
does
like
not
this.
exist because they go mad.
I like this, but what if we turned it on its head and it's an enlightenment thing where when you get to a certain age or maturity within this culture, you eat the brains and to them that is like the ideal form of what they should strive to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
so,
they
like they have a
strive
council of
to
elders
go-
who are all mad.
Okay.
That's so messed up. We just take everything and just go 20 times darker than it needs to be, you know? We can never just make a fun group, you know?
Nope,
Just can't do it.
nothing can be nice. We can't have anything nice, Aaron.
Ooh, let's think of a cultural identity for someone. Oh, I know, cannibalism.
Hey, you're the one who went cannibalism, not me.
It's true. But yeah, I just was thinking like a group who, like, instead of livestock, they literally raised humans.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so creepy, though. And okay, I mean, here's a question. If a group actually did that, the humans that they raised, would they be more like animals? Because they wouldn't
gosh.
teach them anything. They wouldn't, yeah, like they wouldn't
Aaron,
teach them how to...
how creepy are you going with this?
I don't know, but that's just where I thought of. It's just where my brain went. Like they would be. Oh my gosh, dude, that's so creepy. I mean, humans still have like their basic thought capacity
Intelligence.
and like, sentience.
Unless they're doing
They tried
something
to get rid of it.
magical to turn them fully into like animals.
Wait,
I just thought of something weird that might make them not as creepy, but also just as creepy. They have powerful spellcasters.
I thought of something that probably makes them creepier. But you go first.
They have powerful spellcasters that actually end up polymorphing animals
Okay, that's super
into
messed up.
people. And then they fatten them up
that's
as people
really weird.
to eat them. I know it's super weird, and I'm like, why did? Okay.
I was thinking,
but so because then it would make sense that they would have this stupidity, this animalistic
I was thinking
nature to them.
This is so
because
messed
they
up.
would
I
literally
don't
be-
even know where my brain goes. But I was thinking that we play off the madness by eating human brains, and what they feed them is like human brain slop, so that they go mad. So they eat all the human. They eat humans.
they
They
feed
eat
them
humans
human
except
brain
for the
slop?
brain, and they feed the humans that they eat the brains to make them mad, so that they're not as human. That's so messed up. Gosh. Like they turn human brains into like a pig slop, and they just like put it in a big trough, and all the humans come eat it that they're raising as cattle essentially, and it makes them go mad. It's so messed up, dude. It's so dark. I don't even know, man.
Okay. Say that again. Say that again. Sorry.
So they raise humans to eat them. Okay. When
how do they
when
make the
eat
humans go
the
mad?
humans,
What's the?
They remove the brain and turn it into some sort of like feed, and they feed that feed to the humans they raise. To
Okay,
make
so
them
they
go
don't
mad.
eat the brain. The human test subjects
Yes,
eat the brain.
so that they go mad and they don't have
Okay.
their faculties and senses.
That's horrible, Aaron. That's absolutely atrocious.
I know. It is. I know. I don't even know where I'm going. Gosh dang it. So, stealing it is. They steal stuff.
No, we're going with it. We are stuck on a path, Aaron. Cannibalism is it.
No.
Now they give
I like
their
horror stuff too
people
much.
kuru, which is the disease, is a very rare, incurable, and fatal neurodegenerative disorder that was formerly common among the Foray people of Papua New Guinea. It is
Did they eat people, I'm
yeah,
assuming?
that is how they did it. That's how they got it. But so what it was actually a sign of respect. So when your family member died, you would eat the brain as as like kind of like a funeral rite type thing.
Yeah, I mean, all right.
Well, that's what people in Papua New Guinea did, and so,
Yeah.
but it literally gave them. It's pretty much the same thing as mad cow disease. It's this transmissible spongiform encephalothopia, philopathy.
Yeah, and then if I even go further on this, they only eat the humans after they've died from this disease. That's how they like capture them, and that's how they take them away.
So do you think it's like they let them live?
So
they just
messed up.
only give them this food?
Well, okay, what if we could go super messed up and do like they just live normally in society, like they have an entire society that they just can't escape, like they don't know, and they only get fed this stuff, and then when they die, their people just disappear. You could
This
do
is
that
a horrible
too if you
group.
wanted.
I hate this group.
It's terrible.
Okay, but so
It's
this group,
so
okay,
messed up.
let's have it be. So they blend up this brain and they feed it to these people to make them go mad, as you said.
Oh no!
But so that's what they
Why did I
do
do
to their food. Now with the food, I think
Would it be less
I think
weird
it's
if we made them like demons or something and not humans?
no, they can't. They have to be humans. It has to be like horrible.
No.
But so what I think I would like. Okay, I know I'm looking for something that's more horrifying because I want it to be. These people are supposed to be the worst.
Oh, you want
of
it
the
to be
worst.
even worse than it already
Well, no,
is?
So what I want is I want like our food industry, like the horrible food industry in America. I mean, not all. I know not all of them are like this, but I want long warehouses with cages stacked on cages of humans.
That's where my initial thought was.
Of humans
Yeah.
with like their heads stuck outside of the cages and they're just fed this brain slop.
Yep, that's where I was thinking.
Absolutely
Oh,
horrible
my
and
gosh.
absolutely terrible. Okay, so
That
I
gives me the
am
worst
imagining
heebie-jeebies of all
these people
time.
are
That's
on an
so
island
bad.
because they have to be somewhere that they haven't either been discovered or like there has to be something like some reason why they haven't been taken out yet.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's just a big front, like people don't actually know that they're doing this.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I think let's have them on an island and have them like do Viking raids every so often, so people know they exist. They just don't know where they come from. Maybe they've even caught some.
Oh, yeah, what if they're like, yeah, I like that idea of like they know these people come and like attack and take people, but they don't know where they come from. Like they disappear into the ocean mists or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably like a misty ocean area where they
Yeah, like a Bermuda Triangle where people
they
just all of a
travel
sudden
in
get
there
lost.
and ships disappear, or they seem to travel there just fine, but no one else can make it out alive.
Oh, it's so messed up, dude.
But okay, some of the stuff that I was reading on Kuru, the stuff you get from eating brain, the kind of mad cow disease you get, it seems that some people are immune. Are the immune people a delicacy?
Oh gosh.
Or are they a failed test subject? Or do they do some sort of ritual to make them a part of the society and they become a part of the problem?
Oh yeah, those are the three options I immediately thought of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either they're a delicacy.
They're a failure, or
Okay, well,
become
okay.
one.
How early do we want that to be able to be detected that they're immune to this?
I think it takes a while. I think it takes
we could
anything
take it-
from a year to 6 months is what I want to say for our fake version, before it gets.
Because we could take this to an incredibly worse scenario and say that they take those people at a young age when they figure out that they are immune and they become a delicacy and they raise them like that anime. They raise them in like a good environment, not like the warehouses that the rest are kept in, and they just slowly plump them up until they are good and ready to eat.
Oh, so they put them in the orphanage? Like, okay, that's okay. Yes, I like this. They get
So they have
get
like a
kind of
delicacy
treated.
group
They
that's
become
immune to
the
this.
Wagyu human.
Yep. Exactly. Oh gosh, no, Josh. Oh, God. Why? No.
Wagyu human.
We got Kobe human over here.
Kobe human, exactly.
So yeah, so we have like the big warehouses
Yeah.
where the people who are like literally mad from eating this brain slop, and then the ones that are young and are immune to it, which is a small subset. They take and like raise them in perfect conditions to grow them as the best delicacy, and then they like their noblemen or whatever eat them, or their leaders or whatever.
Yeah. How developed do you
So
want? Do you
messed
want
up.
this to be a tribal or like a weirdly industrialized group?
I don't know. I can picture it both, to be honest.
What if we do it in the middle?
Tribal, I just because I don't want to just follow the stereotype of like tribal cannibalism, you know?
Yeah, but also it does feel like there might be like they're hidden in society. They're like a modern version of this also feels kind of played out.
I agree.
So
Yeah, I agree also.
what I'm thinking is that we would do a mid-range. So it's a small, maybe just like there's like a castle, and then okay. So there's the game Resident Evil Village that came out recently.
Yeah, I've been watching people play that.
Okay,
It looks
I
really
think it's
fun.
about that big. So there's like 3 to 4 major locations, like huge mansion, huge castle, huge factory, huge stuff like that, and then like a small city in the middle of all of that. And like that's the society. It's just that as of right now. And they live on a island.
Okay. I was also thinking, if we're talking about society advancement,
Yeah.
what if we did like their society uses some sort of like, I don't know how this works in D&D, if it does at all, but like some sort of blood magic,
Yeah.
so they can even like extract the like magical energy that every human has or
Blood
something.
bending. Yeah.
And then like their society is somewhat magically advanced, but it's this weird,
Did you hear what I said, Aaron?
I don't know. What'd you say?
Blood bending.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you want it to be like control of
Gosh.
blood? Or do you want it to be blood is the source? So it's kind of like they take damage to do a fireball or something like that?
well, so I mean, okay, I like both of those, but I was also thinking like they use it to like fuel like these weird airships that like go on raids, or like they, like
Okay, yes, I like this.
kind of this weird like,
They recovered
like a
some
weird-
of the old king's technology, the wizard kings,
yeah,
and so they
yeah, like it's some
have
sort of
they're the
perverted
only
version
people in
of
this
arcane
world.
technology.
Yeah, they're the only people in this world that have flying ships. That's part
Right,
of
and it's
why
some
they're
sort of
so
weird
hard to
perverted
find.
version. Yeah, it's like a perverted version of
Ooh,
old arcane
okay, hold on,
technology,
hold on.
but they use like blood.
We said they're on an island. What if they're on one of the floating cities?
Yeah,
And so they have
Yeah.
they found a floating ship. They found a floating city. That's why they're so hard to find.
yeah, and they like drop down from the clouds and take a bunch of
And
people,
because
and
the
then go
floating
back up
cities
into the clouds.
move, they're always attacking different people.
Gosh.
They're really hard to find.
Yeah. Oh, that's so messed
Oh,
up.
it is,
Oh
and
my
it's so
gosh.
good though.
It is, but it's
Chef's
so
kiss
creepy.
good. Mwah.
It's so I want to add it to my world, even though it's so messed
It is
up.
horrible, and I love it. Okay, so this horrible group, they
This
live
might be the worst group we've made.
Oh, they're the
to
worst
be
by
honest.
far. Yes, I think very much so. I don't think we've actively gone to make a horrible group ever.
This is real bad.
Yeah.
They're like a weird Viking cannibal tribe that lives in a floating sky city that
In a world
descend from the
where
clouds
people
and
are not
kidnap their
magically
people.
advanced enough to have flying ships. So they
Yeah,
have
and
a
like, what
massive
would their ships
advantage.
look like?
We made them massively
Like their ships
powerful in
have
this
to be
world.
creepy.
Oh man,
What was
we
that?
made them massively
What was that?
powerful in this world.
Yeah. What do you picture their like ship aesthetic to look like?
Well, I don't think it's their ship aesthetic. I think it is the ship aesthetic of the king, because I think they just found one. I think they found one. I
Yeah, but
think they
they've, like,
found
remade
one,
it.
and then they found
like,
a
I
bunch.
picture them being able to like remake it,
Well, I don't
but
think
like
they
it's a
remake it.
perverted version.
Okay. So I think naturally the ships run on like an arcane crystal and arcane magic, like a classic like fantasy reason why they fly.
Right.
I think as you call like that bastardization that happened. I think that specifically is they are able to power this crystal with, as you said, blood magic. I think that's where that comes in. That they found out that their personal power, their blood, the magic running through them can be used to power the crystal.
Yeah, no, totally. That's what I'm thinking. But what I'm also like, I also think like it'd be really cool to do like, so like a normal sky ship like produces this like blue arcane glow and it's like sails and stuff, and underneath the ship like shows it's flying, but theirs is like this weird red, like
I kind of want it to be
so
like a
when you see
red
the red,
blue hybrid. So like it literally looks like
yeah,
it's one of these blue crystals, but blood is literally flowing through the energy inside of it.
yeah,
And
and so when
maybe it
you
even
see
leaves
this
like creepy streaks.
yeah, and see, well, I was thinking like maybe the sails are like tattered and destroyed, and because of this, like maybe because the blood magic is also stronger than arcane magic, so it like partially ruins the ship a little bit. So you have these like weird haunted, ghostly ships with like this red aura, that like red and bluish aura that descend from the sky, and so like the like myths and legends are like if you see the red in the sky, like when the red sun rises type thing, like
When the
you
red
need to
sun
leave, like
rises,
you need
that
to
is
run.
so good.
Yeah, you need to flee, like find some place to hide because they're coming.
Okay, I like
Because you can
this, and
see
I
like a
think
red glow on the horizon when they're
yeah,
coming.
I think
Oh,
this
it's
is
so
great, and I
creepy.
think we've created what we need to now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is great. Now,
Oh man, dude. Well, add that to the world too, baby.
yeah, sorry,
So weird, though.
sacrificial, really kind people that we made previously. Now you got these guys living with you.
And watch out for when the red sun rises.
Yep. Don't want to sacrifice too much.
No.
Well, thank you for listening to episode, I believe it's 34 of Dungeoneered. We appreciate you listening. And,
Insert obligatory comment about how many episodes we've done.
thank you. That was a great comment. I really appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
I'm glad to say, didn't sound like Aaron's bird went off at all. Like it was just like 3 times this episode, so that's great.
She's not even out right now. Yeah, she's hiding. I put her away for the podcast.
Oh wow, you care about the listeners. There's a first time for
Well,
everything,
yeah,
Aaron.
since I'm not in my own room, I have ample space to like put her far away so that she can't
Yeah.
disrupt.
Well,
But no, I don't care about the listeners. What are you talking about?
thank you, listeners. I care about you. He might not, but I do. And so, if you listen
Yeah,
to,
but you always tell him to be the sharpest barrel of the bunch, and that's bad.
if you listen to, yeah, you don't want a sharp barrel, but if you listen to us on any podcasting service that has a review system, please like rate a review. It really helps us. Thank you for taking the time, and we're gonna have a few changes to the format soon. Not anything too drastic. Still the same
Oh
stuff
yeah,
you
surprise.
come for. But I'm hoping to get that all ready to go soon. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you next episode. Always remember, be the sharpest barrel in the bunch. See you next time.
Bye.
That works.